Hello and welcome to The Spin. I'm your host, John Alaska, joined by Brittany, Jesse, and Sean. So today we're going to talk about Ohio State University, get our annual Trump update, Thanksgiving break, and Santa. But let's start with the Ohio State University stabbing. At first, I thought it was a shooting because that's how it was reported from Ohio State University that they thought shots had been fired. But it was just a stabbing. And I think it brings up this great question of, would it have been worse if he had a gun? Because I know we always talk about, campus carry, things like that. He had like a machete butcher knife sort of style knife. But if he would have had a gun, do you think it would have been worse?
Yes.
I think it would have, a lot worse.
I think a lot more people would have been injured.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's interesting because in Paris, there was a guy who was in a truck and also ran people over. So it's like this guy was in a truck and ran people over. So it's almost like this is like it's almost like this is like happening more and more. It's like ISIS is, controlling these events.
Yeah, and you don't know if it's like ISIS inspired or if it's someone that's from ISIS or if he was just sort of replicating what worked. So I think that's sort of what's bringing on like these questions of terrorism and things like that.
Or also just like a crazed student, you know? Like it's not always associated with necessarily like a terrorist group, but definitely, I mean, there are still terrorists because they're hurting people and trying to kill people. So it's hard to like see like what their motivations are, and
I think we all get way too easily assume that it's terrorism.
Yeah.
Like a lot of school shootings don't have anything to do with terrorism. It's because of like one person and like maybe they got bullied or stuff like that. So it's just interesting. But the weird thing about this one is because it was a stabbing, like I don't know about you guys, but when you get shot, you die kind of like quick depending on where you get shot. Stabbing, like the person has to get really close to you, and like I feel like it'd be like a lot worse like for the actual person getting injured, even though less people were injured because it was a stabbing.
Yeah.
But then does this sort of change your perception of how we feel on campus? I know personally, this campus is very good for these types of situations because it's sort of built in the sort of 70s, 60s era to sort of stop shootings and student protests. So I feel very safe on campus, but I do think it does raise this question of, is it a false perception of safety?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think I feel safe, but it's just these lone wolf attacks. It's kind of hard to predict. Like, you can't really judge when these things will happen. Like it's just one guy decides to go into a school and kill people. It's just, you can't really like judge when it'll happen. So.
I mean, and all the security that schools can put in place, like no matter what they do, if someone really wants to hurt people, they'll find a way. Like, okay, all the anti-gun laws on campus, like, okay, you're not allowed it on campus, but if you're going and willing to break the law and kill people, I think you're willing to break the law of bringing a gun on campus or a knife. So, like, if someone really wants to do something, it doesn't matter how, like, the design of the school and the security and stuff can prevent like the length of the attack, but if someone wants to attack someone, it's gonna happen. Like, I mean, that's terrible, and it's terrible that in our society we know that. Like, we're in a society that, okay, we're not surprised when a school gets attacked, but it's gonna happen.
Well, it's like this sort of, becoming desensitized to these attacks. Like, I remember when Sandy Hook happened, going home, I got off school at 2. They let us go. And then I watched MSNBC, S.E. Cupp started crying on camera. They had to go to break because all the reporters were like crying because this was like this crazy thing that was happening. And now it's like watching yesterday's reporting of it, it was this like sort of a routine, sort of just going through the motions of, you talk to a student who maybe knows what's going on, you don't know, you got a hold of someone, you get updates from the campus like Twitter account or text message reports, and that's all about it. There's no real like emotion into it. It seems all forced.
I just also think like the difference between that is like obviously every tragedy is a tragedy, but with Sandy Hook it was more unexpected, I think, because they're elementary school kids. Yeah. So it was a lot more kind of, because as you get older you kind of get more exposed to violence and stuff, but when you're like a 7-year-old kid, it's a lot more tragic it's tragic no matter what, but for children who have no idea about the real world yet, it's kind of, it's a lot more like disheartening. But also, I mean, that also comes back to the whole like campus safety thing. We would never think that elementary school would get attacked. So I feel safe on campus, but also anything can happen. So you just have to have those preparations, and you have to have be nice to people. Gotta do what you gotta do, and you have to just be prepared for anything to happen.
Yeah, I was watching the news last night, and they were talking about like the motive, like why did he do this? And they said that they looked on his social media, and he had posted things about how he was very mad that like Muslims were being persecuted, and he was a Muslim, obviously. So he was very upset that Muslims were being treated unfairly and things like that. So that just kind of goes to show, you know, how he felt. I mean, it's just kind of crazy how he would do something like that. It's just.
I mean, and you never know what the trigger for a person may be.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you not saying hi to someone, like you don't know how damaged they are, how upset they are. So any simple thing of like you not hearing them say hi to you, and like so you ignored them, like that. Not that that's causing people to go get go shoot people, but like you don't know what little thing triggered this whole thing.
Yeah.
And then it does bring up this other interesting point of, well, we might be getting desensitized to this news, but are we as a nation becoming overly like sensitive when like we're, you know, when people aren't, or people are ignoring us, they're being mean to us, are we being too sensitive in that? Because I do think there is this sort of trend where we are getting a little bit too, quote unquote, crybaby about everything. And so I do think there is something to be said about, you know, we're being desensitized, but we're also getting too sensitive as well.
Yeah. I mean, no matter how, nothing justifies killing people or violence, but as a nation, we have to be sensitive toward other people with different religions, cultures, ethnicity, sexuality, sexual orientation. It's a mixture of we have to be strong, but we also have to be soft, and we have to kind of work those two together. So I think it could definitely help with a lot of violence that goes on. So.
Yeah, definitely. Now, obviously, Trump is president, and he's been going on this Twitter rampage about how millions of illegal voters had voted against him, even though he won. And also, he just tweeted yesterday that if someone were to burn a flag, then they should be stripped of their citizenship or be thrown in jail. And you know, obviously, I'm a Donald Trump supporter, and I voted for him, but I don't think he should be using Twitter the way he used it back in the campaign, because he was using it, you know, to, you know, rally his base and try and get new voters. But now that he's won, it doesn't. What he needs to focus on is uniting the country, and tweeting like this isn't helping any.
Yeah.
It's not helping anything.
It's very petty. I think that if you are, it's different when you're a citizen or you're, you know, running for a campaign. But when you are the president-elect, you have a certain standard that you're held to, and by tweeting just ridiculous, with no sources whatsoever, and just kind of tweeting things that to get an emotional reaction. I just feel like it's for shock value, and I don't think it's very presidential of him at all.
I mean, I think that because he's tweeting the same type of stuff that he tweeted during the campaign, and I mean, Sean made a good point. Like it's one thing during the campaign when you're trying to get all the extremists, you're trying to get them to rally with you. But like, yeah, he is the president-elect, and it was enough not presidential like when he was running for president, and now that he was elected. I mean, I just feel like, yeah, he needs to just focus on uniting the people, because the country is so split right now.
Like he's just, I think it goes back to this insecurity he has. I mean, he can't let an attack on him go unanswered. You know, whether it's the size of his hands, whether it's the fact that he didn't win the popular vote, he always has to get the last word. He always has to get the last laugh. And I think as president, you can't govern that way. Being president or being in any position of leadership is 50% saying what's on your mind and 50% biting your tongue because you don't want to make people mad. And I think what he's doing is so just out of the ordinary. It's not befitting the office that he's going to hold soon. And I think Kellyanne Conway needs to take away his Twitter, change the password to something he'll never guess, and throw away his phone.
And also, going off of that, you have to be very objective when you're in that position of power. You can't let your emotions take control of your insight or your objective thought, because you're going to make rash decisions that aren't the correct decision for the time. So I think that he needs to chill a little bit and not tweet as much.
Yeah, I definitely think, and I'm sure people within his campaign are probably telling him, hey, like, you need to put the Twitter down, like, this isn't working. But for some reason, he never listens. Like, I just found that, like, you know, it worked in the campaign, and I'm definitely glad he won. But now that he's president, I don't think he should be adding fuel to the fire anymore. He should just let it be.
He needs to be adding water to the fire to get it down.
But even like the way he says these things, what he's even saying is not substantive. When he's talking about 2 million people voting illegally, there's no evidence to back that up. There's just, he can't stand to lose something. And the math behind it, even if 2 million people voted illegally, Hillary Clinton won by 2 million, you'd still be tied with her. You wouldn't have won the popular vote. Like, he needs to say 3 million people voted illegally. Like, it's just incorrect. And I think he wants to have a mandate where, you know, he won Electoral College by a landslide and then he won the popular vote by a landslide, but that's not going to happen. So he's going to get pushback because he didn't win the major support of voters. So I think politically he wants to have the popular vote, but just mathematically it's not possible and it's not going to happen.
He wants a victory, but he wants a landslide victory. He won't settle for just getting the Electoral College, which is, I think, also petty as well.
So I know we could talk about Trump for a long time, especially about Twitter and everything, but it's time for break right now, so we'll be right back. So we've discussed all the heavy stuff and attack on a school and Trump, which are very interesting conversations, but we're going to get it a little lighter now with some Thanksgiving break talk and some Santa talk because it is Christmas season. So how was y'all's Thanksgiving? Like, was it interesting or was it just like the normal family like gathering?
It was normal family. Went to Mandarin, had some turkey, had some potatoes. It was really nice.
It was funny because it wasn't on purpose, but it ended up where my family's a very political family. So we ended up having like Thanksgiving with the Republican side of the family and then with the Democratic side of the family, like almost separately. And they're separate wings of the family. So it just ended up being that way. But I thought it was really funny because it's like we can't even have like conversations anymore about things. And it's sort of awkward at some points.
Yeah, my family made it a point to not even bring up the election at all because we knew it would just, cause some sort of controversy. So we just stuck to, just casual talk. Mm-hmm. And it was nice. My aunt and my uncle who live in Orlando, they drove up. I hadn't seen them in a while, but yeah, it was good. I had a really good Thanksgiving.
I mean, the biggest part about it was like my mom doesn't really cook that much, so like she ordered turkey from Honey Baked Ham, and it tasted just like their Honey Baked Ham because they use the same honey like stuff on the turkey. So it was like, this isn't turkey. This is like sweet stuff. Like, what is this? Yeah. But so. What are y'all's opinions on like decorating for Christmas? Like I know personally, I refuse to decorate my tree until after Thanksgiving like was put away. Like after like I woke up, like I didn't decorate until I got back on campus. But like, what do you guys think?
I always decorate the night of Thanksgiving. I eat dinner, then I come back home with my family, and we put on Elf, drink hot chocolate, and like decorate our whole house and our tree and everything. So I think that before Thanksgiving is no, don't do it. But like after Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving night, it's kind of justifiable, I think.
I think, for people like Tommy Loren and Bill O'Reilly who talk about the war on Christmas, I think there is a serious war on Thanksgiving. Yes. I mean, I think corporate America obviously loves to make money, so they want to start the shopping as soon as possible. But I think, forcing people to work on Thursdays or Thursday nights just because people want to shop is like so wrong.
Yeah.
Putting up Town Center had like their Christmas tree lighting like mid-November. Like that's so wrong. You need to give people time to sort of celebrate each holiday one by one. Yeah. Because it's sort of becoming like this cluster of just shopping and spending money.
Yeah, I was gonna say there should be a break between when Thanksgiving ends and when I know Black Friday is the next day, which makes it really hectic because after Thanksgiving everyone wants to go out and shop. But there probably should be like some sort of distance between Thanksgiving ends and now we're getting ready for Christmas, so there probably should be a distance.
Yeah.
The whole thing just makes it like, I know my family, we don't do the whole, like, we don't have like a ton of traditions, so like we don't decorate like right after like your family does, and we don't have all that, but it's just like, it makes it with a holiday, like Thanksgiving to me is like a time to spend with your family. I mean, Christmas, you spend it with your family, you get the whole meal. It's practically the exact same meal as Thanksgiving. But the difference between Thanksgiving and Christmas is commercialized with all the gifts and everything. And Thanksgiving is really just a time for you to sit at a table with good food and friends or family or like my family believes, anyone who wants to walk through the door. I mean, but it makes this whole commercializing of it makes it where you can't focus just on spending time with your family. Like, oh, you have to get the good deal the next day, or maybe it starts that night. Like,
it devalues what the holiday is supposed to be about. It's just family and good food and fun. And when there's all this pressure to like go shopping or like get, like what you said, get the best deal. It definitely kind of makes it less special almost.
And it's almost very hypocritical for on Thursday night to be, this is what we're thankful that we have.
And then you need
and
more
then
and
Friday
more,
it's like, oh, we got to go out and get more and more and more. And it's like, can we just take a break and take a breath and relax?
Because I don't know about y'all, but I know for me, if I ever go Black Friday shopping, like, I'm not going to stand in those lines for other people. Like, I buy stuff for myself, like, on Black Friday. And I mean, I don't go Black Friday shopping. I think I've done it, like, twice. So it's like, you're not even, like, doing, like, the giving spirit like like Black Friday was, like, originally designed for. So it's like...
But even, like, you can find all these deals online now. You don't even have to, like, waiting in line, like going to a store. Who even does that
So
anymore?
archaic.
I was gonna say,
Wow.
I don't even bother going
I-
online. I just do Cyber Monday. and
Certain
that's it.
things like
Cyber
shouldn't
Monday.
be bought online, like clothes and stuff like that. Like, you don't want to buy it online. Like a TV, I'm not going to buy it online. I want to see it in person. Like,
Yeah.
but I mean, Cyber Monday's still going on. I mean,
Oh, it
it's
starts
Wednesday,
like
so.
the Cyber Monday before Cyber Monday is when Cyber Monday starts.
I think I've gotten a notification from PetSmart like every day saying, "Oh, it's extended one more day." Like,
Well, speaking of presents, when did you guys find out that Santa was not real?
I don't remember. I just kind of remember it not being true. I mean, like one year my dad gave me gum that was coal. Like, it was like a little bag of coal and like it was gum. And like, I don't really remember. I just remember not ever like believing. Like, I remember believing in the Easter Bunny, but I don't really ever remember. Like, my mom tried to extend it out. She was like, "Oh, you don't believe in Santa? Then you're not getting presents." Like, but my parents never had that sit down talk, and no one I've like talked with had like their parents like the stereotypical like, "Oh, Santa's not real."
I think you just get older and realize that a fat man can't fit through the chimney, or the fact that I don't even have a chimney in my house.
Yeah.
Like, I have a electric fireplace. How does he get in? How does he get in?
I never believed in Santa because my parents were like, "We don't want you to have trust issues." So I never did. So in fifth grade, I crap you not, I go to my fifth grade class. We're decorating like our little tree and stuff, and all my friends are like, "What do you want Santa to get you this year?" And I'm like, "Huh?" And they're like, "Jessie, what do you want Santa to get you?" And I'm like, "My parents get me presents. Santa's not real." And my teacher, in a sheer panic, runs over and is like, "No, kids, Jessie's just kidding. Like, it's okay." And I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, I found out, well, I was brought up, like raised like Santa's real and everything, but throughout the years I would look at the presents and I would see the handwriting, and I knew what my mom's handwriting looked like, so I would be like, that looks really similar to my mom's handwriting. And eventually I just was like, okay, this is her, right? Like, this is her.
I mean, my parents tried, like I don't remember being like told Santa wasn't real, but I remember them talking about Santa. But like because my parents are divorced, so both sides, like my dad would block the stairs, so we actually couldn't get downstairs until they set everything up for like Christmas breakfast and stuff like that. And like my mom would hide everything in her closet, I'm assuming that's where she hid it. But like, so we wake up Christmas morning, and I remember my sister and I would like sneak out, and we'd be like, while they're still asleep, and we'd be like, okay, what did we get? Because it wasn't there the night before for us to look at. So like, they did the image of Santa, but I mean, my mom still does that now. Like, so.
Yeah.
Like, Santa, for like my second grade, he brought me a cat. I was thinking, how does Santa get me a cat?
It's Christmas magic. You can't, like, you can't doubt it.
Like, if he gets every other kid a cat, how many cats does he have on his sleigh? And then, does he have a bag full of cats? And then who let the cat out of the bag? So that's what you got to really think about.
Yeah.
They have a bag full of cats. Not snacks. They're not snacks.
Well, our bag of secrets is that this is the last episode for the semester, but we will be back after break, and you can binge watch all of our episodes online on YouTube. So do that, and that's our Christmas present to you. Have a good day. Have a good holiday.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.